The evidence here is overwhelming. He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore. I'm going to take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family, he had become more left wing. He etched the statements that are made by the left about Republicans and conservatives and Charlie Kirk fascists on the bullet casings.
He made a joke about it in his last text.
But it doesn't sound like a joke to me because someone's dead and about to be buried. Well, so it doesn't sound like a joke to me. So I'm just telling you, there is an effort. There was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed. That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate. He was motivated by left-wing radicalism. He got mixed up with some trans ideology in his life. We'll learn more about that, I'm sure, when more evidence and testimony comes out. We are looking around the edges of this for something other than what's staring us in the face. Left-wing radicalism got this kid. He went up to a roof and he murdered our friend, and that's what happened.
This is an extension of our last episode, which for me was really, I'm not going to say emotional, but as the time has gone by since that episode, the emotions have kind of risen. We're going to continue our conversation on the Charlie Kirk assassination, mainly because so much has come up in the last week. And I feel like this event warrants a second episode. I think even at the end of our last episode, maybe after we stopped recording, but we did discuss that we could do this for like another 2 hours. So, and as a matter of fact, to our listener, Mike and I are going to be on an episode of another podcast. These guys out of Ireland, called the what is it?
Guts Over Fear.
Guts Over Fear. It's based on an Eminem song. These two Irish guys that we listened to a little while back, and we kind of like their vibe. And we finally found a time that we can at least get Mike and I on to talk to them. I'm really excited about that. I love their show. But anyway, so we're just going to kind of extend last week's episode and talk about the new additions to the story that we found out, and reflect on how the week has been since it happened, and how we're feeling now a week later. I mean, I can tell you for me, I'm not exaggerating. The last time I felt this moved by an event in the United States was probably 9/11. And I'm not saying that this compares in the level of violence, but the effect on my psyche is definitely in that range. I've been walking around kind of numb for the last week. Some of the stuff that I've been seeing, which at 9/11, we didn't have the social media presence that we have now. So there was a lot more hearsay, things like that. But the violent reflections from the left-leaning is horrific. It saddens me for the state of affairs in the United States. The people singing and dancing and doing videos and talking about how, oh, thank God he's dead, blah blah blah. It's horrifying to me. But that's my beginning spin on this. It really makes me sad.
Yeah, no, Zeus, I agree, and I've seen some messed up stuff through the reels, right? When you go on X or formerly Twitter or anything like that you may use to look at shorts, because they have them on Facebook and they have them on Instagram everywhere as well. But people are forwarding these really vile pieces of excuses for humanity. And what's funny though is, offensive and disgusting as these things are, a lot of these people are getting outed. Like, a lot of them are school teachers, doctors, nurses, accountants. Like, these are regular people with regular jobs. And the conservative movement on X is just sharing this shit all over the place and naming these people and telling you what they do for a living and telling each other what
Doxing, yeah.
they're, you know what I mean? So a lot of people are getting, like, there was a big story here in Jersey where a doctor just got let go of a hospital
Oh,
because of
the nurse was where the
the
nurse.
nurse dimed him out. The nurse
Yeah,
dimed him out.
go
So I
girl.
mean, so no, but as far as like you said, Zeus, like these people that I don't know are disgusting, but just on like in my little periphery of like Facebook people alone, people who somehow are on my page. Like somebody sent me a friend request. Oh, they're from my town. They have all these mutual friends. So sure, you know, you're seeking me out maybe because I date, you know, a person who's friends with them or whatever it is, right? So I've got all these people on my Facebook that I don't know all that well, and I've seen some shit this week where I've had to just unfriend people left and right because of the vile things they're saying, right? I mean, it's really disappointing and disgusting. And just like a short little example or story, I like horror movies. You guys know that. I'm passionate about them. I post about them, right? I don't really post politics. And there's a horror movie group page, right? That I often like engage with. And they started a podcast, and the guy who started it is like, "Hey, anybody wants to come on? We're going to talk about X, Y, Z, da 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 da." And I'm like, "Oh, that could be cool, right? That sounds fun." So I get a friend request from the guy because I'm kind of a regular commenter on there, right? And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Now I can like reach out to this guy whenever I feel like going on the show if there's a subject I want to talk about." So I accept the friend request. And then I start to see this dude's posts. And I'm just like, eh, eh, I don't, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that interested in talking to this gentleman anymore. Like,
Yeah.
You know,
I'm really not. So it's, yeah, people are putting out, and they're saying things like, oh, Charlie Kirk said this, so he deserves it. And Charlie Kirk is racist, so he deserves it. And I'm like, you know, can you back that up? Like, I think a lot of people are just repeating what people are saying. Like these people that you talk about at work, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
just go, "Oh, that guy was a racist. That guy was, you know, he was a misogynist, or he wanted to execute all the gays." You know what I mean? Like,
but and here's the thing, much
and
like
not that any of that would justify him getting blown away in front of his family, but you know, because he still has the right to say what he wants to say. But that's,
if I
you
can
know, it's another
addend
thing.
if I can addend to that,
Yeah, sure.
um, if much like the Epstein list, here's my and allow me to finish my statement because it'll make sense.
Okay.
Um, if Trump was doing something shady as fuck, that list came out while Biden and Kamala were in the White House. It would have they would have buried him with that. That would have been the
Yeah.
October surprise. And
Yeah,
much
they didn't
like
care
that,
about it either.
right? But much like that, I feel like everybody's saying that he's this racist guy and he's anti-trans and he's anti-gay, and I'm not seeing any videos that support it. Like they don't have anything because I've actually kind of
Correct.
come to Jesus moment. I'm like feeling more religious, and it's inspired by him because, for what it's worth, he was and people can argue if they want. He was not a zealot. He was super. He was super kind to people that he disagreed with. It's what we base this whole podcast on was polite discourse, and that's really all he did. And Jesus Christ, I mean,
No, he said things that they don't want said, and
but he didn't say them in a harsh way, and he
no,
always
no, but
let
that's
us
not the
speak.
point. He
Yeah.
said things that they don't want shared, that they don't want to get momentum. That's why he got killed. That's why this kid thought it was okay to do it, because you got to think of it this way, right? Remember how we used to hear words of violence,
Fuck
right?
yeah, they are.
Remember how they said that? The left was
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, words are
And
violence."
then
Like that's why
silence was violence.
that's why you had microaggressions and you had safe spaces because
Yeah.
people's virgin ears couldn't handle it, so they equated words with violence. So Charlie Kirk said trans men should not play against girls in sports. He said that trans men should not go in ladies' locker rooms or dressing rooms. He said those things. You can't
How can
deny it.
people
He
endorse
did.
that?
But my point is they equate that with Charlie Kirk wants to kill all the trans people.
Right.
That's
I
what
saw
they
this
that
great video of him where it was a male to female, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know enough. Can you talk to me about that? And he was so kind to this her.
person.
I'll use the proper terminology. He was so kind to her. He was like, "Look, I just want you to be comfortable with the body that you were born with. I want you to carefully consider the drugs that you put into your body." Like it was such a sweet, kind way of handling it. And he even said, it's like, I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people aren't gonna tell you. It's gonna be unpopular amongst your peers. And just how he delivered it was so amazing. It's amazing that that guy didn't graduate college and he was 31. I still can't believe he was 31. I
Mm-hmm.
thought he was like 45, 50, closer to our age. He was really very eloquent in
Yeah, no,
anything I'm seeing.
he really was, and he was seriously like practiced what he preached, at least seemingly, when it came to
He
be a
was
devout Christian.
he
And he
was faithful.
acknowledged. I saw an interview with him where he acknowledged that he was a sinner. Like he acknowledged that he used to have a porn problem when he was young.
Mm.
And he said he had to make a concerted effort and really focus on his spirituality and what it was doing to him spiritually.
I get it. I have
And
a
he
porn problem when I was now.
when you were now. Anyway, and I think like when they say he's a racist, that's because he was
Fucking
anti-critical race
ridiculous.
theory. I mean, like he spoke out against critical race theory, right? And he spoke out against quotas and the like, maybe at some
AI.
point. But he never said anything like, "Oh, black people are this or black people are that." Like that wasn't the point. And again, his speech was therefore dangerous, and that's
Yeah.
what it is. He goes against
It's
the
truly
message,
a sad time in our country. And
and he's
it's funny
Christian. That
that
doesn't help.
all the other shit that we've talked over, what, 4 years that we've been doing this? This is probably the the plateau of awfulness that we have seen in this whole time.
Yeah, this is the darkest. I
I'm
agree.
talking Biden, I'm talking Kamala, I'm talking attempts on Trump. This is the moment that makes me the saddest. And I didn't even particularly care. And maybe this will make sense. I didn't always care for him, but you know what I always did? I always listened to him.
That's the
And
danger.
I think that says a lot is I didn't always agree with him, but he was respectful. Much like us, I don't think we beat up on people that we don't agree with. I think we're pretty
Well,
kind.
we haven't had a lot of guests on that we all disagreed with, but even when Tor's on, like we all
I
are
was
have
just
a
gonna
good,
mention Tor, yeah.
we have a
Yeah.
good time with him. No one's like putting him on blast or anything or
No,
trying to
I
shut
like
him
Tor.
down.
I,
Oh,
I'm
Tor, no,
probably the one
Tor's awesome.
I'm probably the one that's meanest to him, but I really like the guy.
No,
He's a
yeah,
sweetheart of a guy.
he's a good dude. He believes what he believes.
We
It is what it
probably
is.
shouldn't have him on for this discussion.
Maybe
It
we
might have been
should.
good to have him on for this
Yeah.
discussion. Actually,
Yeah.
I
He
wish we had
seems
thought of it.
he seems like a
So,
reasonable
so
person.
let's talk about what's happened since last week. And Mike, you seem to have your ear to the ground on a lot of it. Just maybe give us some talking points, and we can roll from there.
Yeah, I mean we can get into like what's happened, I guess. I mean, for me, like just reflecting from last week um to now. I mean, the thing that is very apparent if you're watching anything or listening to anyone that's talking about this is the dichotomy is this. You've got Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA and people that kind of agree with him. And there's a philosophy that's grounded in, constitutional history, the history of our country, the Enlightenment, Western civilization, the Bible. There's a foundation to the things that are being espoused, the things that are being discussed, the opinions that are being given, and things along those lines.
Yeah.
And then conversely, you have this leftist, far left ideology that is ungrounded. It is based on situational morality, situational ethics, if you will. Things are good if these people are involved, but they're bad if it's these people. And if this evil thing happens to these people, it's okay. But if the same thing happens, I mean, in other words, they are adrift, right? And I think if you look at a figure like Charlie Kirk, that is the difference that he has been calling out for 10 years, and
Yeah.
he is an evangelical, but his political points that he made would stand on their own. He was not, unlike someone who would be like a preacher, like a Billy Graham or Franklin Graham or any of the he's not basing his viewpoints on scripture. They run side by side. He can defend his points based on secular
Right.
secular arguments. But what we're dealing with right now is there is a group of people in our country that believe in um you know humanity, and they believe in a higher power. They believe in Western civilization, the Enlightenment, such and so forth. And then you have another group of people that reject that and are untethered to any throughput morality. In other words, there's no everything is dependent on whatever the situation is. It's very chaotic, which is where you get the situation that we're seeing now, where ironically, after Charlie Kirk is, I mean, what I would say, literally martyred, like
Hmm.
literally martyred.
Yeah.
And you have the party press and people in this country that are saying, you can't martyr this guy. And then you go back 5 years and we have this gentleman, this man, George Floyd.
Yeah.
Say what you want about him. I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. Everyone knows that story. He was martyred by the same people, the party press, this untethered group of people. They martyred this. They put literally there were candles with him, like with the halo, right?
Yeah.
Statuary. They
Murals.
used that entire murals. They used that whole thing, and it brought us 3 months of carnage. Neighborhoods
More than
being
that.
burned down, probably more than that.
I
30
have a
plus
question.
people being murdered, right? And
I have a
Yeah.
now we're
question.
not even a
Two.
week out. Like this guy's not even in the ground yet. And these same people are pointing their little claws at us. And I just reject that
Yeah, no,
entirely.
Mike, it's pretty specific. Just like they wanted him silenced, they want all of us silenced. And that's why the entire media has gotten together and said, oh, you guys on the conservative side, you need to cool down the rhetoric a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. As if.
In other words, shut up, be quiet, and let us continue to do our bullshit. That's what they're basically saying. And the nerve of these same people that have been calling us Nazis and fascists and God knows what else for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You
Which
know?
and I know Zeus, you want to jump in, but I got to finish this point and dovetail off what Jack just said. Just to speak to this ridiculous, completely infantile, and what some may call retarded rhetoric that the left
Hey, don't use
has
the R word.
about Nazism and someone's Hitler and all this stuff. One, they have no idea what that means. They have no idea how that completely disrespects what actually happened
Right, right.
in World War II and all that stuff. But as someone, I can only speak for myself, but I've been hearing that rhetoric for years now. And erroneously, I've just disregarded it because I'm like, it's so absurd. I'm not even going to address that. But the dangerous thing and what we're seeing and what happened on September the 10th, this guy, Tyler, 22 years old, he totally bought into
22.
that because he's 22 years old. He wasn't even alive when 9/11 happened. Like he is no like World War II is like the Spanish American War to this guy. Like he has
Right.
no touchdown. He has no grandparents that fought in it, right? I mean, I don't know about you, Desiree, but I mean, my father-in-law was in a Nazi labor camp, right? He was kidnapped when he was 15 years old and put into forced labor under the Nazis for years. This is my father-in-law. So I don't think
Wow.
kids today have that level of connection. So the term Nazi and Hitler and
This means evil.
it's just, yeah, it's just thrown around. And if you can,
They're actually diluting
they're
the
diluting it.
evil
And
that
if you can label someone as Hitler, right? And other people have said this isn't my thought, but like if you can rhetorically do that, where the person's like, man, this guy's just like Hitler. Well, it's reasonable if you're a reasonable person, and these people aren't. But even if you are a reasonable person and you believe someone is Hitler,
Yeah.
isn't it reasonable to take them out,
Yeah. That's like
given
the,
how
yeah.
evil someone like Hitler was, with guilty of the deaths of 10 million people and beyond the Holocaust? So, I mean, that's what we're dealing with. And the last thing for at this moment that I look at between last week and this week, do you guys remember like 9/11? People talked about like 9/10 culture. Like there was the world on September 10th, 2001, and then that ended. And then whatever happened after, like it changed. And I would say that 9/9/2025, I would put an equal sign to 9/10/01. There is before this happened and there's after this happened. And it's not going away. I'm sorry to my leftist friends. This isn't going away.
I
There's
do
a
have leftist
fundamental
friends too.
change. This has been a sea change, a continental
Shift.
subversions. It is a different, the whole deck has been reshuffled. And I don't know what it's been reshuffled to yet, but I'll tell you one thing, it ain't what it was last week. Guaranteed that. Guaranteed that.
To that point, and again, I've said it before, and I know I repeat things a lot, but I voted for Biden and then I voted for Trump. So my point here is Charlie Kirk gets killed on live television, or I don't know if it's live, but we saw it. We all saw it. They got the video out quick so everybody could see it. It was horrific. But answer me this. In the last week since he's died, how many riots have there been? How many stores have been broken into? How many cops have had their faces spit in?
Zero. Thank
And
you,
that
Zeus.
makes me I like to think I'm a Democrat, but I think I've just at bare minimum I'm independent, but I'm certainly not Democrat anymore because that's fucking awful. There's been no violence
Yeah.
from, I mean, I'm sure there's probably been a couple bar fights, things like that, but I find it shocking that what happened with the BLM riots when George Floyd, and again, you know, peace to him and all that, it was a different reaction. And this, I think, far more violent.
Yeah.
100%,
Wait a
dude.
minute.
This is like
I think,
purposeful murder. Yes.
yeah, no, I think I can maybe, I get your point, Zeus, and I do agree that that when you look at the left and you look at the right, the ultra leftist and let's say ultra conservative, they are different. And I agree that one tends to be more violent. At least we've been seeing that the last 10 years for sure. The bullets are flying one way at this point,
And
right? I
20
mean,
years ago, do you think it would we have thought it would be the left that would be so violent? I don't think so.
I mean, no, they were doing the protesting in the
Yeah, they were
'60s.
already violent.
They
Yeah.
had the black nationalists and the hippies and
They've been the party of violence,
they
dude.
had Bill Ayers, right, and the Anarchist Cookbook or the Rules for Rebellion or whatever. What's that book called? Rules for.
Look, the only president that's been shot that wasn't shot by a leftist was shot by a communist. I mean, that was
Right,
Kennedy, right? I mean,
right.
every president. Anyway, whatever.
Well, no, but here's the thing, though. I mean, just to that point, that there haven't been any riots and George Floyd was different. I mean, you got to just to be honest. The whole thing with George Floyd was it was state actors, it was policemen, and it seemingly killing a black man right there on video, and everybody watched him die. And the narrative was already out there that white cops are hunting down black people.
Right.
So when a cop murders a black man on camera, okay, let's go after the police station, let's go after the courthouse. Oh, by the way, this got out of control. Let's burn everything, right? In this case, you have a 25-year-old shooter assassinates a guy,
22.
and we
Yeah.
and we all know it comes from the rhetoric. But even if the conservatives wanted to, like, what are we busting up? What are we burning down? What are we taking out? Like,
MSNBC Studios. Why
well,
isn't
that
that on
would that
fire right
no
now?
that well, Mike. I mean that the scary thing is what is the next thing to happen? Like you
CNN,
said, you know what I mean?
New
Like
York Times.
that
Yeah.
could be it. That could be
Washington Post.
I
Why
that
aren't
hope
could
they in flames? Why aren't they being destroyed
I
right
hope
now?
that the right stays the course
I'm
and
not
that
advocating
keeps
for it.
this. Yeah.
no.
I'm just saying if I'm to believe what these people say, why isn't that happening right now? Because
Well,
these are the
that's a good
people that
point.
have been pushing this. They've been pushing this narrative. They've been gaslighting everybody. Um,
Well,
you know,
maybe it has to do with what you were saying before, how what Charlie Kirk said is at least based in the Constitution, is at least based
right.
in Western civilization, the Enlightenment, the recognition of divinity in others, the Bible. If that's where the conservative cornerstone is, they're just not the type of people that are going to go around burning other people's shit.
Exactly.
Right. So these
That's the point.
people, well, these
Yes.
people are the opposite of that. They, like you said, they're untethered and they're opportunistic, and they don't, if you don't have a moral baseline that says killing is bad, especially for free speech, then you're more likely to do something
And
like this.
more importantly to
But
that statement, before something happens, not reactive. You know what I mean? Like it's everybody's saying this is horrible now.
No, not everyone.
not everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, even like MSNBC and
Yeah, but
CNN,
but they're blaming the right, which is
Yeah. They took about 12 hours after he was killed, and then they went right back to the same playbook.
yeah,
it's disgusting.
it is pretty bad.
So let's talk about what has changed in the story because
Oh yeah.
that's rather intriguing. I guess first off, the guy that did this, and this is no slight on trans at all, but he was allegedly in a relationship with a trans person, and you think a furry as well, like just bizarre shit. That one took me by surprise. I didn't see that coming at all.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
but
it's like so
No, that's
1990s, man.
No, but that's another thing with the whole media narrative, Zeus. I'm glad you mentioned his background or what we know about him, because basically what they were saying, all they were focusing on to some degree is that he comes from a Christian conservative family. So they basically said, "Oh, the assassin is a white
Which,
Christian conservative." And there's
yeah,
another spin they're putting on it that this guy was so conservative that Charlie Kirk wasn't conservative enough for him. That this guy was a Nick
that's what I was
Fuentes
saying last
fan.
week, remember?
Yeah, but it turns out
but
that that's all made up. They
and
completely fabricated
they
that.
fabricated it. And Jack and Hot Carl, to your point, it's like this is the press, right?
Yeah.
And they're not trying to uh, be journalists and bringing us new information. They're just like, well, he's like, da da da, like it fits into this pre. They're not journalists. They're not bringing anyone new information. They're just trying to spin and tilt and
Regurgitate.
frame the story. Um, and I'm tired of people saying like, oh man, it's so good that so and so finally. I'm done. Like they're not journalists, man. Everyone needs to get it through their head. There is no CBS. There is no ABC. The guy on ABC today was fawning after the prosecutor in Utah read the prosecuting statements before the court appearance. The guy on ABC was fawning over how lovely it was that Tyler was like so loving to his uh whatever roommate, his love interest,
The
and
roommate.
like how beautiful that was that even in the midst of all this, I mean, look it up yourself, guys. I mean, this is bananas. There is no ABC, there is no CBS, there is no NBC, there is
No,
no
it's X.
there it's all the Democrat Party. Like they don't exist. There is no media. We don't have a media. We don't have a free press. We have the
Yeah.
Democrat Party press, and then we have independent press, which is like Friends of Zeus podcast, what
Yeah.
used to be Charlie Kirk, and Ruben and
Wall Shapiro.
everyone else. There is no press in our country that is gone. It is Democrat Party propaganda machine, and then it's everyone else who's trying to be like, "Hey, man, let's talk." Like this is, we got to get
Yeah.
together.
Well, and like I
That's
said
what it
before,
is. That's the
and Mike, and
dynamic.
and they're trying to silence us and
Yeah.
the Ben
Yes.
Shapiros and the Matt Walshes, and that's why they
Yes.
keep talking about turning down the rhetoric. Because
Yes. What rhetoric?
the next thing there'll be another disinformation board or legislation that says you can't speak about certain things. That'll be the next step. So they got to try to work on it now. And here's Mike. Remember we talked about kind of how we all sort of felt, Zeus, you touched on it, pretty depressed this week. Like this was the lowest low point. And
Yeah.
I think part of the reason I feel that way is the media's coverage of this.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, because now I really do feel like I live in a country that's run by a foreign government. Like, this
Yes.
doesn't feel like the United States of America to me. It really, because the media is sponsored by the government, and we
Yeah.
know that. And if this is our government, I mean, this is where I live. This is you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
like
this is my country now.
it's like less than 24 hours after this man is murdered, someone that I held in high regard, and I got a lot out of what he had to say, and I felt that he was, I mean, honestly, and I'm not the first person to say it, but it's like him and like Rush Limbaugh. I mean, who else was more of a leader of this conservative America First movement? I mean, obviously Trump is in there. Trump is like kicking ass. But I mean, as far as a media person, someone that's not a politician,
It's
there
Charlie
is a
Kirk.
direct line. You got like Rush Limbaugh, Andrew Breitbart, Charlie Kirk,
Dead.
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 All dead. All three of them are dead.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's like, and so I can't even get like 6 hours of like, just leave me alone. I gotta have like Martha Raddatz be like, this guy was like ultra MAGA, like whatever. It's not about news. They're not interested in news. NPR, man, I listened to NPR today. Don't do it. It's
Ugh,
horrible. It's totally horrible.
why would you do that to yourself?
I know. Look,
I used to love NPR. I used to
here,
love NPR.
and I got to hear what Desiree has to say, but this is the last thing I got to say for right now. And this is the part that troubles me. Like again, everything that we've said up until this moment. Here's the thing that's really effing with me. When I drive around and I'm in 3D real world, I haven't heard anyone say anything about this. I haven't, like, I've avoided my office, but
hmm
grocery store, neighbors, friends,
Well,
talking to
because you know
people,
what? Here's the
clients,
thing.
like zero, nothing. And then I go online and I check all the places I normally check, like Huffington Post, Fox News, Daily Caller, Federalist, MSNBC, CBS, Newsbusters, Breitbart, various blogs, various things on Substack, the Free Press. I check all these places and it's all they're talking about. And it's so pervasive. You would think that if you walked outside, there's people having a parade about it. But in the real world, silence. So what's
So,
real? Like, am I like completely gaslighting myself? Like, am I getting myself what is
no,
real?
no,
Like, I
here's the
don't know if
thing.
it's real. Like, I go outside, no one gives a shit about this. Online, it's the only thing you ever hear about. So
But
what's
here's the
real?
Mike,
Yeah.
here's the thing. And then Des, I just want to say this real quick. For what it's worth, the left isn't stupid. They're not. We may not agree with them, but they've been running shit pretty well for them for a while. And I think that the sheep, the followers, um, are at least aware that it's a bad image to go, oh, it's a good thing, amongst
I
the
don't
men.
know.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I don't
I'm
Like,
know
not
if that's
seeing that.
true.
but what I'm saying is, in the public, nobody's going to be like, "Oh, I'm so glad that that guy
But don't we
got killed."
live in the 3D public? That's my point.
But
That's what
but
makes me
but you see what I'm saying?
upset. Yeah.
It's far better to do a video and then detach yourself from it and watch the shit fall as it will.
Yeah, it's
So yeah,
fearless.
nobody's going to be like, "I'm glad that guy got killed in front of his wife and kids," because that's going to spark some fucking
I'm
anger.
just
Yeah,
saying,
you might get your ass kicked.
isn't that
Yeah. Oh,
dichotomy like,
give me a reason.
but isn't that worth mentioning though? I mean, I'm just saying, if you didn't have a phone, well, I mean, if I didn't have this thing, right? If this didn't exist and I wasn't on the computer, everything that we talked about from the beginning of this episode right now, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. So, Des,
Because if I
what are
walk
your thoughts?
outside, no one's talking about it.
Yeah, wait till you get to work.
Wait till
I
I
can't wait
get.
for Dez's spin.
Anyway, yes, Desiree, you have the floor. Sorry.
Well, you guys have to understand. Can you still hear me?
Wait, are
Yeah.
you on vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Des, do you have a home?
Yes. No, but the plane's
No.
not there, and she's got
Where
these
are you on
wicked cool
vacation this week?
blinds.
Um, I mean,
It
I'm a
could
nomad, I guess you could
it could
say,
be
whatever.
undisclosed, and that's a great
She's
chair.
vacationing in Utah.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. Sorry.
Not vacationing in Utah.
Okay.
Um, anyway, you guys have to remember I live in Kansas.
Hmm.
So from whatever you guys are saying about your outside worldview, it is a little different because
Yeah.
historically Kansas is, you know, blood red.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
there's not a lot of people that even if they are being keyboard warriors and saying, XYZ set in celebration of, things that have happened, even if they are saying those things online, they definitely are saying them in real life. But there's not a lot of them saying those things online because, like I said, there's not a like in comparison to where you guys live, that doesn't really
Hmm.
exist.
Yeah,
Right.
we're in the heat of it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've only encountered one situation so far that where there was somebody that said something that was not actually insensitive, but it was taken as insensitive, and so there was a little bit of spat that occurred. But yeah, other than
Oh,
that,
do give us details.
well, it wasn't really that big of a deal. I mean, what she said was, um, it when a nurse was talking to a patient, and the patient had said something about like, "Oh, that's so sad," da, da, da. And she was like, "Yeah, that is sad. Um, everyone that dies leaves family behind," is what she said. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. I'm not sure how this other person that heard that took
Took it.
that. I don't know, but she was just like, "How dare you say something about?" And she was like, I don't understand what I said. That was so bad. Like I'm confused."
Yeah.
So, but that was really it. I mean, I don't really get how that person. I also don't get how that person got offended. I was confused too, but
Yeah.
um, anyway, it's neither here nor there. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not, but I
You're
guess I'm also
insulated.
having the same, maybe insulated, but yeah, I mean, even if there were those people that were going to say the things out loud, I'm also not seeing those people say those things out loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I envy you. I envy you. Like I said, I won't reflect on what I was talking about, but I am in a particular situation where I can't speak my mind. And I'm not a volatile person. I'm not a hateful person. But when I hear stuff that's bullshit, it kind of sets me off. And you're so lucky that you're more surrounded by people that are at bare minimum not like atrocious with their, because they're the opposite of what I'm going through. They're more aligned with your thought processes, where I'm like on an island. And it's very frustrating for me because if you guys haven't noticed, I generally say what's on my mind.
Generally.
Much to my chagrin. Um,
Now,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. There's very much, a very there's a decent amount of liberal individuals, where I live, but they're not to the point of we're thinking somebody that got shot
Yeah. Well, I mean, Desiree,
in front of the world,
I'll be
not
right
to
back.
be
essentially.
not to be like too precise necessarily, but words do matter, and we there's a lot of interchanged terms. Um, I don't have any problem with liberalism or liberals. Classical liberalism is what this country was founded on. What we're talking about is leftism and radical leftism and Marxism, which is
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's a whole other thing. I'm not talking about liberals. I have no problem with liberals. This is beyond that.
Yeah, well, they
And
co-opted the word, I
they
guess.
co-opt the word. I mean, I look back at, and I said this in the thread. You look back, people always on the leftists throw out January 6th, 2021 as like Armageddon or whatever. After that happened, the the existing president, right? Um, actually, well, yeah, January 6th, the existing president, his account was canceled by Twitter, which at the time was the largest social media platform on the planet. Canceled him. Um, there was a website called Parler that was competing with Twitter. Same format, sort of like what Blue Sky is now for leftists.
Right.
Amazon deplatformed them. AWS, Amazon Web Services, which is where they were hosted, just killed it.
Yeah.
And this was within 24 hours of of the riot at the Capitol, where Nancy Pelosi's bodyguard murdered Ashley Babbitt in cold blood. So less than 24 hours later, that had occurred. Now, after Charlie Kirk's assassination, which was fomented and pushed by all of the Democrat Party media, the party press, and calling him a Nazi and anti-democracy and supporting Trump, who's Hitler, and all that stuff. None of those websites got taken down. None of those people had their accounts uh, let out. And you have a website called Blue Sky where they're openly, I'm a member of it, subversively or whatever, where they openly discuss who's next. And that website is still active, like
Funny
no
how
issue
that happens.
whatsoever. So again, and you look at like it's not just like what's good for the goose, is good for the gander. It's you're talking about a complete separate reality of how things are dealt with. And oh, that's right. And
But
yeah, I just
but
don't feel
Mike,
like playing ball with that anymore. Like
yeah,
I
but
don't
Mike doesn't
accept that.
But doesn't that make you like feel a little bit like I was saying I felt that this country is being run by those that don't wish the best for the country that you think it
Yes.
is?
Yes,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like I feel like I live in a different country than the one I used to live in. Like I
Yes,
really feel that way.
there are people there are people in who live in the United States of America who love the country and love what I call Americanism. And that's sort of a blanket term that means that you believe in what is espoused in the Declaration, in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. You believe that rights are bestowed by our Creator. They do not come from government, rights of the individual, all that good stuff. And then you have people on who are leftists, right? Who are people at MSNBC and Comcast who hate Americanism. They do everything they can to tear it down every moment they can possibly do it. And if you call them out on it, they deny it, which is very telling because they recognize that it is unpopular. When you call someone who's a Marxist, or someone like Zoran Mamdani, who is a self-described Democrat socialist, he's a socialist. And as someone else said, the difference between socialism and communism is 5 years.
Yeah.
But if you call him that, they duck and cover. They know it is not a
Yeah, it's a nuclear
popular,
bomb.
they know it's bad. So they lie and they obfuscate versus, if you just tell them, like, we said this on previous episodes. If you were to ask Joe Biden, back when he gave his red speech about how horrible half this country was, he called out anyone that supported Trump as being anti-democracy. I mean, you
Right.
want to talk about fomenting violence. And you ask someone like that, like, what's the thing that you love the most about America? They have no answer. They don't know. Because they are completely untethered from the things that you and I
Yeah. And
love
the weird
and
thing
Yeah,
take
about
but
for
what you're
wait.
granted.
saying, the weird thing about what you're saying is like, uh, how do I put it? I don't want to take away people's rights, but it almost feels like people we have, and this is gonna sound weird, and I don't agree with what I'm saying, but it's almost like we've given too much freedom to. But
Mm.
do you understand where I'm coming from?
I
Well,
I
no, but that goes to my point too. I'm glad you said that, Zeus, because that's what I was getting at about silencing our side. Maybe the idea is just to silence all of us, period, and keep us bickering at each other, and then eventually take away the right to say anything, whether you're on the left or on the right, except for the media and the government. And this is what I mean. Like, to go to your point, Mike, Americanism must still be popular because they don't come right out in the open. They deny that they're Marxists, right? So they're aware of the popularity of
don't
this
even think they
country
know what
the
Marxist
way.
is.
Well, no, and I think that's evidenced also by the fact that Trump won. Okay, so there's
hmm
still people that love America in this country, period. But I still think that there's a deeper government that Trump's still trying to get to the bottom of and try to work this in spite of, like the Brennans and the Comeys and the Clappers and the Obamas. Like I think that there's still this other government that really is running shit, and Trump's only doing what he can do, and they're fighting him every step of the way with the
Would
media,
you
with
call
the
them an
judges.
Illuminati?
The deep state.
No,
The
I mean
the
the
deep state.
I mean the people that are really in charge are trying to ruin this country, and
The
that's
unelected bureaucratic class
yes,
that
yes,
survives between elections. And yes, and it would take multiple elections to fumigate them out.
yeah,
And he's doing
do what he can.
Yeoman's work, right now.
Yeah,
And I look at, like, again, to bring this back to Charlie, and I've thought about this a lot, and what we do on our little podcast for the three people that watch it. And again, to be clear, and I've said this to my wife before, I do this podcast for my daughter. Like, I want her to be able to understand where she can go back in history in any major event, because most of what we do is topical. I mean,
yeah,
20% is like favorite albums.
Yeah.
But in the moment, and the thing that's beautiful is that we talk about things that happen within the last 24, 48 hours, and you get our fresh approach before everyone else can spin it. And I want her, and me myself, I want to be able to reference that. And to our credit, as a group of people, we're pretty spot on. I mean, we really do.
Hit the nail on the head.
It holds up. Like I'll take any of our podcasts from like 3 years ago, put it on right now, and I'll probably stand by like 96% of what I said. So anyway, my point is getting back to Kirk. I think the way forward, because what I have been aching for is like, where do we go, right? Because I'm not going out and like getting to a freaking riot. Or I'm not interested in that. I'm not, you're not going to beat sense into anybody, right? There is no civil war that ends well. If there's a civil war, we lost. We already lost. What Kirk recognized is you have to acknowledge people's humanity as an individual, whatever their beliefs are, even if they're just like throwing mud at you, even if they just hate your guts and they're completely unreasonable, you're not going to win hearts and minds by forcing people to understand what you're saying or by legislating it
Well,
or
yeah,
by
because
hitting
what
them with a
happens?
baseball bat on the head. When you are out in public, when you're speaking with anyone and they're like, fuck Charlie Kirk, man, he was a fucking Nazi. You have to take a beat, take a step, and you need to approach that person where they are. And you need to witness, and I'm not talking about Jesus. You need to treat them as a human being and try to give them something to walk away with and think about. And that's
Yeah,
a tall order, but that's the way we get out of this. It's not from like beating people over the heads. That's what their policy is. Their policy is to beat us over our heads. And that's not going to work.
well, and the sad thing about that is I'm not seeing a lot of ways out of this.
Well, I'm saying
But
what
but
I'm
to
saying is the way out of it. Like you have,
but to your
it's
to
hard.
your point,
It's hard.
um, what bothers me is again, it's the loudest person that wins the argument. I don't know about you. I've had
Mm,
arguments in
I
my
would,
life, plenty of them, probably some of them with you guys. And when you force your will upon me, and let me ask you guys, what happens when you have a conversation and they force their will upon you? What do you do almost immediately?
you immediately reject it.
No, no, you shut down.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I'm saying. You
done.
can't do it that way.
But that's
This
what's
this is
happening.
an
We're
individual.
so beaten that we're just like, all right, I'll comply. So I can keep
Well,
my job, so I can keep my house, so I can pay my car payment, so I can feed my children. I'm just going to shut down and listen to your bullshit and
in that
just die
context,
inside.
but in
Because
that
that's what's
con
happening to me.
but in
I'm
that
dying inside with
context,
this
Zeus,
stuff.
in that context, maybe. But I think if you look at what the example was that Charlie, look, our colleges and higher education institutions have been totally captured by the radical far left. I mean, that's without question. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
debate anybody on that. And all these people, the Joe Rogans, and I'm not even saying he's a conservative.
I can go
Um,
ask him. He's right down the hall.
I know Rufo, Rubin, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, all these people. They were sitting in a studio with like a little background behind them and talking about stuff and playing clips. Charlie Kirk went into the lion's den, right? And if you were following him 10 years ago, I mean, late, like in the last few years, it's like, hey, Charlie, it's great. He's throwing hats out. Everyone's wearing shirts. It's like a rock concert. It wasn't like that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, people were coming up and flipping his table over and like throwing stuff at
Yanking a
him.
hat off his head.
Yeah.
So my point is the way out of this is that. The way out of this is to have courage of your conviction, to treat people as human beings and not dehumanize them, even though they're trying to dehumanize you, and approach them with love and approach them with a sincere desire to make sure that you leave them better than you found them, which is what he did. That's what he did. That's why he became such a figure.
I don't even know if
And
he did, but his intent was that.
I think he did. I think he really, if you see some things where, he has some back and forth things with people, and even when they disagree, like if they present their argument in a respectful way. And my point is, we're all human beings, and if we feel like they're being dehumanizing, the answer is not to be dehumanizing back. At the end of the day, we may not be the winners, we may not see the finish line, but that's what's got to happen, man. That is what our country is all about. And it's lead by example. I mean, it's the Gandhi principle at the end of the day,
Yeah,
man.
but it's got
To
to
a
be though,
degree,
because
it's
it's got
got
to
to be.
be it's got to be like Gandhi. But Mike, I'm not saying that like in the sense that like yeah, we should all go do that, because the problem with the Gandhi method, I guess what I'm saying is that we already talked about how the left is more prone to violence, right, than the right
Correct.
seems to be.
Yes.
So I mean, if you're going to put yourself out there,
You get
you're
shot in the neck.
you're more no, you might get punched in the face. You might get
Correct.
you know,
Yes.
so you got to be willing
Bring
to
it.
take. So you're
Fucking bring it.
no, but that's what I'm saying. You got to be willing to take that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't.
Aren't. And I'm not. I mean, I
I'm
don't want
not
to get
either.
punched in the
I
face.
don't want to get punched in the
But I
face.
will tell you this, it's like, and
Punch me in the face,
but
fuckers.
if someone, look, 5 days ago, if someone walked up to me and said XYZ, my reaction 5 days ago versus my reaction now after I've really like meditated on this is totally different.
Right.
And
You know what's a fear of
you
mine
can't
with
you
this?
can't follow these people down the shithole. Don't follow them. Look at his videos, man. All you have to do, if you spend 30 minutes, just go on YouTube, go on Twitter, go on whatever, uh, you know, Instagram, whatever. Watch 30 minutes of him interacting with people.
Yeah, he shuts his own
That's
fans
all
down.
you need to know. That's all you need to know. It's
He's
like that's how you
constantly
but
do it.
telling his people, be quiet, let them speak.
Yeah,
yeah, but guys, okay, that's true. But in terms of things being different for you, Mike, as opposed to a week ago,
yeah,
and going to what Zeus talked about, maybe this could be a little PSA for our three viewers, right?
right.
Okay, so let's say you are out and about, and somebody who you don't normally even interact with, never about politics, but maybe not any, maybe somebody professionally, somebody you work with, or somebody that you kind of see every now and then, a friend of a friend who you're sharing a bite with for whatever reason, and they start spewing this stuff that you know isn't true, or that you know is anti-American, or that you know whatever. Like,
What do you do?
how would you handle that? Like,
Yeah,
do you
no,
like the
No,
only
absolutely.
thing? Because
that's
I
a
mean,
big.
honestly, I think that if somebody that is in that level said to me as blatantly as, "Oh, he deserved it for all that shit he was saying. He deserved it." Like right there, I would just look at them and be like, "I appreciate your honesty. I've just made a complete judgment of you as a human being, and I don't need to speak with you anymore."
Yeah,
And
Ever
that's
again.
you know what I mean?
and I
Just
think that's
Look,
call them
valid.
out and unfriend them. That what else can you do?
But you
and
could also,
here's my statement on that is that this is the type of shit that radicalizes people.
Well, yeah,
Because
that's what we've
I'm
been
not
talking about.
feeling radical, but you know what? I'm walking on the street. I'm not at work. I'm not around my family. I hear somebody say that that guy needs to die. I'm gonna get a little salty. And you guys know me. I'm not a hostile person. on any level, but I am ready to fucking throw
Yeah, a
fits.
lot of people are, man.
And I'm
But
not that guy. I'm
No,
so
I
not
know.
that guy.
but do but
But boy, do I
do
want to.
do what he did. In other words, if someone says, um, Charlie Kirk was racist, it's like, okay, well, why do
Show
you
me the
what
video.
what makes you think that? Like, what has he done or said that make you think he's racist? Oh, well, he said that if he saw a black pilot on his airplane, that he would feel unsafe and wouldn't want to be on that airplane. I'm
Show
like,
me.
is that the total? Okay, let me explain to you what the total quote was. He was talking about DEI, and he was saying that, being an airline pilot should be based on merit and not on um,
Racial car.
DEI or
I want the
racial
best
quota.
pilot, not the whitest
And
pilot.
the fact is if you have a DEI policy and you see a minority pilot, the natural thing is to say, like, did this person get it from DEI or did they get it from merit? And you don't know. And conversely, it's also damaging to the pilot because the pilot could have completely earned it through merit, but now everyone's going to second guess it. So why, if
That's
we're
a really good point, Mike.
anti-racism, then why are we judging people based on immutable traits like race at all? And that was his point. And they'll say, oh, that he meant he was racist. And then the other big one is, oh, he said that he didn't like empathy. And like, if you look at the video, it takes 3 seconds. Again, these people aren't interested in the party press, and these people are not interested in bestowing knowledge on the people. They're interested in driving a narrative. But if you take their statement of he didn't believe in empathy, and if you just spend 27 milliseconds and look that
Not
up,
true.
he was saying that he dislikes empathy, he prefers sympathy. In other words, sympathy acknowledges the horrible thing that the person that you're giving sympathy to is going through based on its own merits, whereas empathy is, man,
Putting yourself in
if
their shoes.
I'm putting myself into the situation, and if I had to deal with this, then I would be feeling bad. Like, you're taking that person's humanity out of the question. But they're just saying,
Hey, may
like,
I ask,
oh, I don't have any sympathy. I have no empathy for Charlie Kirk because he said fuck empathy, right? And so it's so horribly dishonest, and it takes like 27 milliseconds to get past that. And again, you're not going to win those people over
if I
unless you're
may,
just like, give it to me, and unless
have
you're
you
like
guys seen
thick-skinned.
have you guys seen the video of him on the Whatever podcast where
Yeah, yeah.
he he's talking to a
The
bunch of
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans
Yeah.
models, and what stood out to me is, first of all, that guy has faith, had faith. I'm sorry.
Still
Um,
does.
he's like, I hope you find Jesus, blah blah blah. But the thing that stood out to me is that all these women were like, you have been the most respectful to us of anybody that opposed our lifestyle
He
that we
was
talked.
advocating for them. He was advocating for
He
them.
he makes me want to go to church. I like maybe there's something there because that guy fucking had it.
Yeah. Again,
It's
he was grounded, and you don't have to agree with everything, and you don't have to be religious, and you don't have to go to but what he
don't
talked
discourage
about
me
was
from going to church,
consistent.
Michael. I'm thinking about
Look,
going to church.
this goes back to, for me personally, one of the most formidable people in my life to my political view and my world outlook was a guy named Ron Smith, who was a radio host in Baltimore. He died back in like 2011 from prostate cancer or pancreatic. What's the one that takes you in like 3 weeks?
Pancreatic.
Pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, he had
That
that.
shit takes you in like a week.
And the thing that he would always focus on was consistency of thought, and what people brought to the table, and what they were grounded in. And he was like, if I disagree with somebody, but I can go back 10, and they've been saying the same thing for 10 years or 15 years, and they really are a true believer. And it's like, I got to respect that. But when people are situational and they are not grounded and they're not based in anything and they're just kind of floating out in space, he had no respect for that. And that taught me a ton. And it was like, you have to find you have to find the rail, you have to find the grounding, you have to find the thing in life that is important, that you can come back, like a well you come back to, that you can measure everything against that you run into to keep you on the path. Because if you just like play badminton and you're just like swatting at flies for everything that comes up, you're lost, you know? And
Um,
Charlie was 100% grounded.
Charlie
100%.
would have thrived. He throve now. He would have thrived in the 90s. Like, I'm gonna give you, so Jack and I, we go, of everybody on this show, we go back the furthest. And I always admired Jack for his frank, you know,
I just wish Jack could be on with us
disposition.
right now.
Yeah, talk
Oh, I'm
Carl. I don't know
sorry,
who you're
Hot
talking
Carl. Hot Carl.
Yeah.
Um,
about.
and and I was very left then. He's always been right. But there was a discourse that was going on in the 90s that I don't think we'll ever see again. Um, and I really do believe this because he and I got along famously. I don't know how quickly we were best friends, but we were definitely best friends pretty damn fast.
It
Wouldn't you
was
agree,
pretty
Hot
quick.
Carl?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I made a lot of like jokes. I think Jack will know the Tori Amos joke that really just pissed his wife off, his now ex-wife, but at the time it was a pretty goddamn funny joke, and Jack loved it. I think maybe I was always a Republican and I just never wanted to sign on.
That could
But
be right.
but we and this could be perspective with our age. Like I have definitely since beginning of the show to now my attitudes on a lot of things have changed. And I fully endorse that it has a lot to do with talking to you guys. And I bucked against, what you guys said for a long time on this show.
Yeah.
But through the time of this show, I've changed my beliefs and it was very organic. Um, and I think I was always probably prone to that. I've always been very much a pragmatist. Like, well, that doesn't make sense, so fuck that. That's where I'm at. That's how I do things. It's probably much to my chagrin because I just don't deal with bullshit at all. And if you're trying to shove shit down my throat, I'm not going to do it. Jack never did that. I mean, hot Carl. Fucking, we should just stop saying hot Carl because we all fuck it up all the time.
It's
Um,
fine.
but you feel where I'm coming from, right? Hot Carl?
Yeah, no, we never had like, we would maybe talk about issues and whatnot that came up, but it never got like, oh, I can't hang out with you anymore. This guy, what he believes is, bullshit or whatever. It
Well,
didn't really matter. It was like you said, polite discourse, and it
like
wasn't.
when I knew you, I was working for the Democratic National Committee, raising $2,000 an hour for Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
Couldn't be more the opposite of Hot Carl's. but
right,
but we got
right.
along, and I hope we can go back to a
It's
point where we can have that kind of discourse where we can just disagree and not fucking flip out.
well
And I
that.
know it's not going to be me that flips out.
Well, no, it's that's what I was saying before. It's never the conservative or pro classical American constitutionalist, whatever. We're not the ones that flip out when they have.
Correct.
We just don't. Whereas these people now, they'll start screaming instantly and like tearing at their hair and getting in your space. You know what I mean? Like it's really, things are not the 90s anymore, man. The Democratic Party, like Mike always says, that's not the 90s Democrats anymore. Like they're
They're
dead.
gone. They're in the
No,
They're
trash.
dead.
it reminds me of that movie As Good as It Gets, except instead of woman, You replace it with, you know how I make a Democrat? I take a Republican and take away all
I
rationale and accountability.
I think also the
Oh, come
one
on, that
big
was good.
no, that was good. I'm just saying one big change that I've seen in my lifetime is, I this is a whole other this is a whole other topic, but when I was a kid, like when I was like 6, 7 years old, and I had a big extended family. I have like 25 first cousins, and
You mean fat or large or
no, like
many people? Okay.
expansive. Like my dad is like one of six and whatever. Anyway,
Well, your cousins and your first cousin.
cousins and first cut. But I would always hang out with the adults. Like when we had like family reunions and get-togethers and
Me too.
Christmas and Thanksgiving, like my cousins would like, be playing ping pong or football or hanging out in the garage or playing Atari 2600 or whatever. And I would always stay at the table when my parents and my uncles and aunts and grandparents were bringing out the brandy and like talking politics and
Yeah.
talking about stuff. Like I just was always into that. Even as a young kid, I was always like intrigued by that. And at that time, there was a wide variety of opinion. Like it was exciting to be at that table, seeing my mom and my dad and my uncles and aunts and like have it out. But at the end of the day, they were still who they were. They weren't a Democrat. They weren't a Republican. They weren't this or that. They had their own humanity. They were their own people. And there was like the political conversation and then who they were as people. Now, as a 50-plus-year-old person, and I don't know if it's with social media and everyone has to tag everything and everyone has to describe who they are. It's like your politics, it's like who you are, right? It's like core to you, who you are. Like that's how it's presented. And I think that's incredibly destructive. I think that's completely horrible. And I've recognized that even within myself. And I've really tried to take some steps back from that. We're human beings. We're all just trying to get through this life, right? There is politics. There is where we live and all that is incredibly important, like crucially important. But it doesn't describe it's not who you are as a human being. I don't know. I mean, personally, and I remember seeing people argue and 6 minutes later it was over. And I don't know that we do that anymore. Now
No,
it's
no,
like people go
we
and firebomb
stay.
each other's houses or write stuff on bullets and like shoot people in the net. I mean, it's like, what happened to that? I don't
And
know. It's already been like 40 years. It's not a
I'm
long
glad you
time.
touched on that because I don't know where it lies in this whole thing, but Mangione did the same thing, and I find that interesting.
Yeah. And
That
he avoided the death penalty today.
oh, did he?
Oh yeah. The judge
That's a great fucking shame.
took it off the table.
Wow.
And
I
look
Does
don't
at
New York
know.
even have the death penalty though?
they yeah, for terror. Oh, I'm sorry. They took not the death penalty. They took off the terrorism charge. But again, you look at like someone like Mangione outside the courts. This was today in New York. There were thousands of people wearing like free Luigi shirts and
I
all
say
about
free
that.
Mario.
I was gonna joke last week. I'm like, when's the first thing gonna happen where it's like, man, this guy Tyler has killed Tyler or Charlie Kirk is hot. Like when's that gonna start happening? Because I'm sure it
Because he's
will.
not.
Well, is Luigi?
It's a Mario.
Well, wait. Yeah.
I'm just
This.
saying that this thing. Even today, you had the far left outside the courtroom where Luigi Mangione was cheering him on as some sort of cultural hero, right? He murdered
Yeah.
someone in cold blood in the back, a private citizen, not a politician. And the far left in our country thinks that's fantastic.
Yeah. There's no respect for people or property anymore. I mean, bodies don't matter. It's just flesh. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. And also speaking of, but the free Luigi shirts, I saw floating around online, somebody's making money off of these T-shirts that have a picture of Charlie Kirk with a bullet going through his neck that says "Debate
Protect
this."
your neck.
Yeah,
No, I saw
I've seen
"Debate
both.
this."
They're
Yeah,
both of them.
and people are like wearing them in their TikTok videos, and it's
That's
incredible.
sickening.
Yeah,
Is
it's
Here's
what
what
that's
incredible.
sick.
bothers me. What bothers me is, and I think that this is part of our age, this is a perspective thing. But I haven't come to any like resolution in afterlife and all that. So for me, when you die, that's it. I believe in God, but I get questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
I'm
You
not
don't know.
anti-religion. I believe in a cosmic force. That's kind of more where I'm at. I believe in some cosmic force that's guiding us and all that. And for me, it's just like he was snuffed out.
Yeah.
Sure, he may be in heaven. He may be up there with the girl I think, did I mention last week that the girl that got stabbed on the train, it happened like a month ago, and he was the one that brought it back to the forefront?
Yeah,
That,
Yeah.
but like, for me, and this is maybe a selfish thing, when somebody dies, they're no longer part of this. We use the term all the time, but they're no longer part of the zeitgeist. They're no longer part of our
We lose them.
yeah,
ethereal, whatever you want to call it. They're
they're
no
gone.
longer part of our existence, a part of our timeline.
Yeah, they're
And
taken out.
that's what and again, this is my own theory on martyrdom. Martyrdom is I didn't necessarily, I never hated him. I always listened to him, but I find myself more ingratiated to Charlie Kirk now because I'm looking more and I'm seeing things and yeah, he was a little snarky, but
I
his
don't even
mind
think
was
he was
kind.
snarky. Yeah.
He was a little snarky.
Hello, at
Okay.
times,
He was a little snarky.
All the time.
not
But so are
unprovoked.
we. All of us are snarky with each other all the time. That's not an endorsement to kill somebody. But for me, it's the mortality of this one that bothers me so much. And seeing his wife give this speech about you just created 1,000 Charlie Kirks. I hope so,
Yeah.
you know?
It
And then there's
has,
part of me
man.
that doesn't hope so because what
You
if
know,
somebody dark and with less honorable intent comes along and fills that gap? You know,
you,
like a Saddam Hussein or any ruler that comes in and takes over when the vacuum's there. That fear, I have that fear too. I'm hoping that it's maybe like a Ben Shapiro, who I think is kind of an asshole, but I like what he says and he uses facts and it's hard to argue him. But it's the mortality of this that bothers me so much. This kid, I could have been this guy's father plus 6 years and still been a young adult
if
having him as a kid.
if you look at, and I have, and you look at like the Dave Rubins and the Shapiros and the JD Vances
You
and
know, I don't
Stephen
prepare for these
Millers,
shows.
and you look at
Yeah.
all these people um who have these podcasts, Rufos. Charlie was in contact with these guys weekly.
Yeah, all the time.
He was in their texts. He was emailing them. He
He would
was
host
so
them.
active. He was at the White House. Like, again, you cannot minimize
The impact that he
the
had in such
impact
a
that he
short life.
had
Yeah.
on this movement, and this
He was fucking
movement,
31. I'd
this
kill to be 31 again.
this Make America Great Again, this America First movement, this
Yeah.
traditional conservatism movement. They assassinated
A leader.
the leader of that
There's
movement. I
there's
mean, and
a
there's no getting around it, and there's
That's
no easy there's no guy in the minor leagues we're going to bring up.
right.
He
Right.
was
They're not easy shoes to fill.
generational talent. He was
there
a
I
gifted
get this.
rhetorical speaker. He was incredibly intelligent. He had huge charisma.
And not
You don't
college educated.
you don't just duplicate
replace
that
that
in
guy.
5 seconds. Yeah, there's not like 10 people that can fill that
He was an
position.
anomaly. Um,
Well, again, no.
maybe you
Speaking
guys
of,
can
but
follow this. I
uh,
get a Malcolm X vibe.
It's a good analogy.
Like Malcolm X, if you want to, so there's Martin Luther King with the City on the Hill, and Malcolm X was the bullet versus the ballot. And then Malcolm X goes and finds Islam, and he comes back and he's like, I want to work with people. I want to help.
Yeah,
And
it's a good
that's the vibe
analogy.
that I get from Charlie Kirk is when Malcolm X up until he became Nation of Islam, he was kind of a jerk, and that's putting it lightly. But when he came back, he was this like different person, and that was the person that Charlie Kirk was. He was considerate and kind.
He
I
didn't,
like I
Charlie did
said, I didn't
not
like him before, but I'm starting to love him
look.
now.
Here's and like what I was saying before, and this is what made Charlie Charlie. He didn't, when people came up to his microphone, he wasn't putting them into a group. He spoke to them as individuals with their own human dignity as individuals. And I'm saying that's what is going to take to get us through this. I'm not saying
no.
it's easy. I'm not saying it's even pleasant, but the other, right? The fists and the they are going to win that one because that's their game and we can't play their game. And if you look at like what happened just after this week, I mean, what was it? I don't know what the number is. 18,000 more applications for TPUSA chapters across the United States
Yeah,
or
I'm actually looking at it
whatever.
right. I'm looking at it right now here. It says that this was our buddy Tom, from the, he was former
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, Tom. Okay, just letting the audience know. It says he said before the shooting, Turning Point USA had 2,100 chapters, 900 college, and 1,200 high school.
Yeah.
After the shooting, they've had 37,000 new
Yeah.
chapter requests.
Yeah. So I will take his way of doing things and say that is the way to follow,
Yep.
even if it's hard. I mean, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. And but good things are hard.
You
Yeah.
And
know,
and it's not something that's going to take like 2 seconds. But you know, I am a yeah. I mean, religion's a whole other thing, but I'm just saying I believe in the basic goodness of people. And I also have a horrible temper about stuff like this. And I'm really pissed off about this.
like I
Yeah.
said,
But if I
it
let
hurts
that
my heart.
emotion, if I let that direct the way I react to this stuff, it's not helping anything.
No, of course not.
You know what I find
Hey,
encouraging from this is the there's a lot of gay people that have been like, we didn't sign on for this. There's been a lot of African Americans that are like,
yeah,
this is horrible.
yep,
I find if we want to grasp at some things that are positive from this, which is almost impossible, but me, I'm on my phone all the time, and I have heard a lot of interesting, positive, love Charlie Kirk things from people that everybody's saying should hate him.
right. I have
Um,
too.
and like I said, I didn't like him before, but maybe it's the martyrdom. I think there's probably a psychology to martyrdom that if you were on the edge, you suddenly lean forward and hard into it. And maybe
Mhm.
that's where I am. Maybe I'm just
Dude,
not victim, but maybe I'm uh susceptible to something that's positive and kind and good. I mean, I think I'm already those things, but I'm really grown a love for this guy over the last week, seeing a lot more of his videos and his TikToks and all these things, and seeing that although, and Jack even agrees, he's a little snarky, but he had
No,
facts.
like Desiree
He
said,
had,
it was more reactive. If somebody brought it, then he would bring it too. But that,
dude,
Most of his videos, that doesn't happen. People are respectful, and he's
But
respectful.
even in the ones where he brought it, he was still kinder than the other person.
Oh, sure.
Dude,
He wasn't as unhinged for sure.
he just got Obi-Wan. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I feel about it. I mean, he's more, it is creepy how if this didn't happen, I'm not saying this correctly. He is a larger figure now
Yeah.
than he was before.
Yeah.
I'd still rather have him around.
And that is uncanny and that is unusual. That does not normally happen. He people will be talking about him
This
long
incident
after they're going to be talking
Well,
about anyone that's currently in Congress. They're
right.
going to
Well,
be talking,
that's the hope, Mike. But their hope is that this just turns into another news story that people don't talk about in a week. That's what they hope.
Here's the
What
thing. Let's say the Dems take it all over and we're in concentration camps. This is what drives me. No, I'm being
reporting from
serious.
concentration camp Alpha.
No,
This
but
is Friends of Zeus
I'm
podcast.
I'm
We love
exaggerating with
party
that.
leader.
I'm exaggerating with that
Yeah.
statement. But what I'm saying is that this would be the pivotal moment in my life that would drive me to sacrifice myself for the better of.
Okay, but we
many.
got a lot of moves before that.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
We're not
Hey,
storming.
guys.
We're not storming the hornet's nest.
Oh, Trump's Hitler.
Guys,
Yeah.
I don't know. We wanted to talk about some of the stuff going on in the week since last week,
Yeah.
and we talked a lot about the media's spin about how this guy's a Christian conservative, and they're ignoring all the facts like the bullet casings, the trans boyfriend, the text thread. Oh, you know what I mean? Like this. But one thing
what about
that's
the text thread? Do you know about that?
well, no. One of the I'd rather just let me just get this out there. One of the news stories I heard is that they've obviously been searching this kid's social media presence and everything else, and they've been looking at these chat rooms like Discord chat rooms, and there's another app called Threads, and they've actually found I believe it's seven separate accounts, different people that seem to suggest foreknowledge of this shooting.
Yes.
Which means
20
burn them
plus,
all.
actually.
You've heard 20 plus?
I've heard 20 plus, yeah.
Okay, so now a lot of conservatives have lately, since the Tesla attacks, and now with these school shootings that have gone on from transgendered individuals, there's a lot of conservatives that are saying, like, there was even a suggestion that people who identify as trans shouldn't have the right to bear arms. I mean, like, it got to that point.
Yeah, I
that
can't agree with that.
Well, no, but now there seems like there's this concerted movement amongst the trans community that talk to each other, that there's more going on here, that there could have been there was certainly knowledge, so that this could have been a conspiracy to assassinate him. There could have been help,
and it could be a conspiracy after the fact. In other words, it was discussed, and then everyone thought it would be a good idea, and he did it. Right? That would be a true conspiracy. Conspiracy after the fact would be he decided to do it. He was going to do it. He started talking about it, and then people were like, "Hey, man, that's fantastic!"
Right?
Which is a little different.
I think one of his last messages to his friend was like, "Yeah, it was me. It was me. It was me. I'm sorry."
Yeah, but I mean,
his
again,
grandfather's gun. Did you guys see that whole?
Yeah,
story?
I saw that. He was worried about his returning. He
Well,
left
his
the gun.
grandfather was like, "Wait a minute, I'm seeing pictures of this gun that looks like mine," and then he was like, "Where's my gun?"
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Des, what do you think?
I'm actually just reading these text messages.
Yeah.
There's just
First of all, does anyone think that what's going on with Discord? Like
Discord. So I was about to use that for a while, and then I found out that it is like the pedophile fucking playground.
That's
like
horrible.
That's where all the pedophiles go.
Well, do you remember 4chan and how there was all sorts of problems with 4chan?
I actually
like how Reddit back in the day, there was so many problems with Reddit, and it was just this like cesspool of
darkness,
weird shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well, that's going on Threads, on Discord, on Reddit. There's all sorts of like subgroups where
Well,
people just get in there and they feel safe and they
I
start
think the thing with
spewing their
Discord that
mouths.
makes it popular is it's uber encrypted, and as soon as you send a message, it disappears. So everything is like in the moment. And if you say, I want to fucking kill this person, it disappears.
so it's like a
That's I
Snapchat,
could
but
be wrong.
like I don't know. I just think that a lot of this shit that goes on stems from Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, little
And so
communities.
It's
maybe
almost
shouldn't there
always
be some
mentioned in these things.
moderators?
Yeah, but they do whatever they want to over there, I guess. That seems that you find the right subgroup that you want to be in. See, I can tell you my Discord story. This is like back years ago when I guess it was like 2019 when I first realized all the YouTube stuff was out there and stuff like Discord. And there was like I heard about the horror movie thing on Reddit, and that led me to seeing chats about this Discord page, right? So I went on this Discord page and people were talking about horror movies and it was kind of fun. And you know what I mean? You're up late at night, you're chatting with people. And I quickly realized how most of these people were like microaggression safe space subscribers. You know what I mean? Like they would get easily ticked off and they'd be like, oh, that's a microaggression, or I'm a little offended by, you know what I mean? Like it was not like talking to people. It was like
Jack,
talking to children. And so I got off of it right away. I was like, this is just like people are like, you know, they were blasting me for saying something that to me seemed innocuous. Like I was just like, really, guys? Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Jack, can we not use the term microaggression? Because that term just triggers me. It's such a woke fucking term.
This is like a
No, there's aggression
microaggression.
and there's
Wait,
non-aggression.
wait.
Microaggression
I'm
is,
sorry I
I have
triggered you.
feelings. You made me feel bad.
Well, that's what they were saying.
Dago
That's
sticks.
the whole point.
Well, this gets back to like again with this whole Charlie Kirk situation. I've been lectured to for years about microaggressions and how
Fuck
horrible it is to
microaggressions.
misgender somebody, even if you do it
Fuck misgendering.
unintentionally or whatever.
Don't dead name them.
Don't dead name something. That is so horrible. And, people are committing suicide because they're not. And then you've got a guy that like blows someone's head off practically,
Are you
and
talking Mangione?
you're not well that him and this guy, and you're not, if you like call it out for what it is, it's like, oh, you're being, that's horrible, like you
It's
can't do that, like
insensitive.
it's insensitive, like
Fuck
you're
them.
you're causing, you're part of the problem, like you're
Right, you're
creating,
inflammatory.
you're being inflammatory. I'm like, so miss
Inflame this.
calling someone by the wrong pronoun will cause them to commit suicide and is a life and death situation. But a life and death situation is just like nothing to
No,
worry
mental
about.
health
I
is
mean,
what will
this is
cause them to commit
leftism.
suicide.
This is the left, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. Well,
Um,
guys. Well. I
yeah.
don't know. Does anybody
Sun
else
is
have anything
bright,
or
deep at
Okay,
night,
wait. I do have
deep
something I
in
want to
the
talk about.
heart of Texas. Oh, sorry.
So I
This
it's
good.
about time we did this.
okay.
I'm challenging you guys to come up with a design for a t-shirt
We're
with
doing
freedom
this
as
now
part of
on
it.
this episode.
Yes.
Freedom.
We don't have to do it right now with freedom on one side and then Foz going down from the F. You follow? I'm challenging
Or on
you,
the back.
whatever you want to do, as long as Foz and freedom, because I want us to come up with a design and then we'll create the t-shirts and then we'll send them out to our fan and they can buy the t-shirt. But all the proceeds from this we will send to Charlie Kirk's foundation.
Dude,
You
I've got
guys
a
on
design
board?
already because I've already thought about
I don't
this.
think it's going to take that much.
No, I've already got one, so
Okay.
I'll send it
Great.
to you tomorrow.
I have one as well. So
Okay, but
my
all I'm
challenge
saying is somewhere on the shirt it needs to spell out Friends of Zeus podcast. Like maybe on the back, something. It's got the Foz thing. It's
They think
not
we're
doing it.
Fozzie Bear. Yeah, it's not
all
doing
right.
it.
Yeah, it's not doing it.
So then we do freedom, friends.
Or
Okay,
you can have
put it on the
Braveheart.
back.
use your imagination, but I want
Yeah.
us to do this.
Okay.
I mean, just can I just say the fact that he
Yeah.
was wearing that shirt, I how
I already bought one.
how bananas is that?
What was he wearing? I don't know this.
He's
The
wearing a
shirt
white
said
shirt
freedom.
in black letters that said freedom across it.
And
Wow.
and
And he
and
got
I'm not
shot
going
right, like it was covered in blood. I mean,
I
it's
don't
just
even want to go far from what his shirt looked like. Like that could be the core of it. But I'm challenging you guys that we all try and come up with a design. If you guys want to have Friends of Zeus on it, fine. But I think Foz is going to resonate later on anyway. So
all right.
fine. That's what you want to do.
All right.
We all by next week, let's just
Now we have
throw
homework.
out
All
something.
right.
And
Homework.
then, like I said, we
Homework.
sell it to our fan and we send the proceeds to his
We're
foundation.
we're gonna make one T-shirt that costs $6,000.
Seriously, guys, I really
All
hope
right.
understood
It's
you.
one of
So
one. We
please-
All
will
right,
sign it for you.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, Zeus.
All right.
Yeah, so
All right.
let's do
Hey
that
guys, I
because-
think we've been on for a while. Someone do the hand. Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Hopefully a cheerier topic. Take care.
Absolutely.